Good morning. My name is Michael Schroeder, and I am the Executive Director of the Quittapahilla Creek Garbage Museum, gracing the north bank of the Quittapahilla Creek here in Annville, Pennsylvania. This is just an outline of some of the highlights of my talk for what I hope to give for the TedxLancaster. How did I start the Garbage Museum? I'll talk about how I'm drawn to the water. I'm from Minnesota originally, so I was naturally drawn to this creek, used to go for walks, and was quickly appalled at the vast quantities of garbage that saturate this local creek. So I'll talk about how you pick apart the debris piles and you find bags and toys and all kinds of stuff. And what I'd like to do then is connect that to the global problem that we're currently confronting with sustainability. That this is an emblem, a symbol, a microcosm of a vast planetary problem. I'll talk about how this garbage flows into the Chesapeake Bay and into the Atlantic Ocean and forms part of the 5 great oceanic garbage patches of the world. I will talk about the capillary nature of this problem, how it emerges. I'm going to borrow from Michel Foucault here and his notion of the capillary dispersion of power. And the notion that I'd like to talk about is the capillary production and creation of the systematic contamination of our waterways when people in Lebanon and along Route 422 throw their trash into the street. It sits there for a day, a couple days, a week, a few weeks, and then a rainstorm comes and washes it into the creek. I've watched this creek during high rainstorms, and it literally turns into a river of garbage. Every few seconds you can see bags and bottles and toys and lighters and shoes floating on paths. Dozens of items every few seconds. So this talk is an effort to connect the local to the global, to give people a new set of glasses so that when they see a piece of trash laying in the street, and I'm going to challenge people to walk up and down the streets of Lancaster or Lebanon or any street in America, and one block, pick up every piece of trash. And at the end of the block, look at that and imagine that going into our waterways, because that's what's happening. I'm going to talk about Elizabeth Colbert's book, The Sixth Extinction, how human beings are currently in the midst of creating the 6th mass extinction in the history of life on Earth. And instead of this thin layer of iridium that the last mass extinction left behind with this giant asteroid that smashes into the Earth 65 million years ago and extinguishes the dinosaurs, our legacy will be this thin layer of toxins and plastics that will never biodegrade, and that future archaeologists 100 million years from now, digging around in the rock faces, are going to find this as our legacy. So I'm going to connect it to the petroleum economy, to the throwaway society, our sort of rampant consumer capitalism, and the kind of mindlessness that generates this kind of trash. Finally, I'm going to end on the note that if this is a capillary problem caused by the millions of actions of ordinary people every day, that the only reasonable solution is a capillary solution, that we need to change people's consciousness. That when they see a piece of trash in the street, it's really not sitting in the street. Where it is, it's either woven into the debris piles in our waterways, or it ends up in the Atlantic Ocean. So again, connecting the local to the global, bring in some literature on current issues of sustainability, play with Michel Foucault's notion of the capillary dispersion of power, and you know, in essence, try to fit people with a new set of glasses to show how this ridiculous garbage museum, and it is ridiculous, it's intended to be ridiculous, because it's intended to highlight a far more ridiculous and really an insane problem of the systematic saturation and contamination of our waterways with our trash. So that's the nuts and bolts of the talk, and I'm going to stop there because 5 minutes goes pretty quickly. Thank you very much.